Welcome back to today's session. We've been able to learn how to create a new resource. That was what we did in our last video. Today we are going to learn how to edit this and also show this resource in our classroom. How can we really share this resource and modify it to suit our learners, use different features to engage the learners on Lingo Teach AI? A quick dive. You've This is our Lingo Teach AI. You've been able to sign in with your Google account. I'm not going to go to new resource anymore. I can find the resources that I've created over time under my resource. So I go to here to my resource. The status is still private, but that does not really mean at this point. You can also upgrade, subscribe to get more features and to enjoy the full benefits of the Lingo Teach AI. Now, looking at this, I'm going to be using this one, the lesson on restaurants. And all I need to do is to edit. Once you click on edit, it's going to bring the interface where the final interface before you create an interactive resource. You can go through it to make sure that it's everything that you want. Check if you need to change anything, if you need to reload questions, if you need to add more questions, the key vocabulary, be sure that is what you want. Check the vocabulary in context and be sure that is what you really want. We also have the multiple choice questions. Check if it's something that you want to change, is anything you want to really modify. Now you can do that on your own. The chunks, we're also going to go through that. We had edited this last time and be sure that the number of the chunks in the English part is the same thing as the number in the French part. Also, do well to go through your chunks to make sure that they are correct side by side. So after that, you can also edit part of speech if you want that. There are also syllables, target syllables, and native syllables. Now, there's an error list to remember and is actually accurate because we can see that LingoTeach AI was able to tell us that this was an error. I just intentionally put it there to make sure that I'm sure to know if it can accurately spot these errors. Now, you can also include your lesson plan if you want that. I'm not going to focus on the lesson plan today. Let's look at this. And I'm doing finish and display interactive resource. Wow, did not take any time at all, as it takes like 2 seconds. When it even says 60 seconds, that's interesting. Now, looking at this place, looking at this interface, what are the things you can do here? You want to showcase this on your class to your classroom, on the interactive board, on your laptop. It's better when it's a bigger screen because at that rate your students can get the full experience, the full learning experience, and they are more engaged. But in case you don't have a bigger screen, you can actually use your laptop, or you can also look for a way to share it, cast it to a bigger screen, or also share with your students individually. Let's take a quick look at how this works. Now we have this. This is the screen layout, and it just shows you different aspects that's going to show on the screen. Once you drag your cursor to one, you can see that the French version shows on the screen. The English version or translation is blocked. What you need to do at this point is that you may need to click on each one to really get what everything is talking about. So how can this work in your classroom? You have students and you want them to maybe translate this um French to English. So they're meant to read and tell you what it's talking about. So once they read bonjour, nous avons une table pour deux au nom de deux points, and they need to tell you what exactly that is talking about. Because the answer is not here, because it's blocked, because it's covered, is easier. they need to think to be able to get the answer. And we know that this is effective when you're learning a new language. And once you're done, you can review all, which at this point they can now cross check the answers, they can now cross check their responses to be sure that, oh, okay, this is where I missed it, this is what I did, and so on. And if you want to show it one by one, you just need to click twice. So I have bonjour. So let's see this. Oh, bonjour, nous avons une table pour deux au nom de Dupont. And the teacher, the student says the answer. All I need to do is to click twice here. And it tells me, oh, okay, hello, we have a table for two under the name of Dupont, which is just a word for word translation. Okay, but this works and this is perfect too. Now we'll go back to this our screen layout. We click on it. Let's see what 2 does. Now number 2 just gives you the French and the English only. There are no questions. There's no question tab by the side. It just gives you the layout for the French and the English version of your text. So if you want only this, you know that you're just going to click on number 2. What does number 3 give you? Now number 3 gives you the French version of your text and gives you the answer layout. So this is where we have here. So we have the question layout. So for instance, we have to find the phrase. And once you click on that find the phrase, you're seeing chunks, you're seeing multiple choice questions. So all the question formats that you had created when you were creating your resources, you're going to find them here. You're going to find them here. And that is what makes it very interesting. So if I click on true or false, you can see I can ask questions and give me the answer. I review to cross check and they're able to say okay. So this helps you when you're using the think, pair, and share method. This also helps you when you're trying to work with in collaboration or in smaller groups where they're meant to go through the text and they are going to explore the different functions or different formats, different question formats that you had created. Okay, now let's move on to number 4. So once you click on 4, it gives you the English version that is closed and gives you the question format. So at this point, what you can do is, for instance, you're trying to work with students that their pace is quite slower than every other child in class. So what you can do is you're trying to make them learn this word for word, a sentence for sentence, a sentence after sentence, one sentence before the next sentence, and all that. So if you're saying, for instance, hello, we have table of two under the name of Dupont. Follow me. Here are your menus, and and all that. So you can ask them this question in English, and they tell you the answer. So we have a table for 2. Is it a true or false answer? So they tell you, oh, it's cannot give you yes it's true and also give you the translation in French. Now you're helping your students translate, but you don't want to give them that sensory overload where they are tired just seeing all the text. Now they take it one after the other. So this helps to improve comprehension and it improves the confidence of your students in the language that they're learning because they now know that they just have to take it one by one, sentence by sentence, step by step. So you can use this method in your classroom when you're trying to ensure that your students understand every sentence, every text that you're trying to teach them in relation as concerns that topic. Now, when we go to layout 5, we have this and we have the image. I love this particular part because that shows that we can upload an image. Let's try uploading an image here. I just going to have this Gonna open, and you can see this does not relate to what we're talking about anyway, but this is interesting. Saying going to the restaurant and I just want them. So one thing I can put something related to food here, and I can tell them to describe in relation to what they are talking about. Or I can even ask my students to upload different pictures, or even ask them the kind of pictures they would want to upload in relation to this topic that we're talking about. And I will also ask them to describe the pictures that they have uploaded. Now, this way you are engaging your students. You can see that you did not spend so much time in trying to create this resource, but you're spending so much time in delivering this resource in the quality way that is meant to be delivered, and you are improving the teaching and learning process for your students intentionally. So you can upload your image here if you want to, and we go to layout 6. So layout 6 have the image as the text in French, as the target language, and as the question format. Now let's look at this question format quickly. Once you click on this part, it minimizes. Once you click on that part to bring it back out, you can translate this, flip the language, French to English and English to French, the way you want it. You can also do this to show or hide the answers. So once you click on it, it reviews the answers. Once you click on it again, it hides the answers. So you can see that this I really love and applaud the intentionality that was put in creating the Lingo Teach AI. You would know that this person is not just a tech person, this person is actually a teacher, which is the goal. Teachers need to create what other teachers can use, right? Okay, now let's move on to 7. 7, you just have only the French version of your text, and this helps greatly. You're just introducing, and you want to just make them to get accustomed to the French version of your text. When you're teaching a language, you want them to see the target language first, because that way they are first to think. If you give them the source language, they then try to put them together. But once you're getting the target language first, and it's actually in most cases, especially for higher education learners, they are able to, it's more effective for them. The younger ones or beginner learners, they can do the um, source language first before the target language. So this is just the target language. And at this point, you can also play around with this. We have closed the consonants, and you can see the different things. So let us look at 55%. Can you see it removed the consonants? This can even help you with spelling. You can, this also with spelling. You can also make it this way, and your students are meant to actually guess the words that are meant to fill up these gaps. You can do that for this, and maybe say 5%. Okay, so this is just me playing around with this. This is it. And you can also choose your own gaps too. Okay, so once we have that, let's go to number 8. And number 8 is just your image. Number 8 is just the image, which is very, very interesting, and it's a very good catalyst for learning. It helps to stimulate interest. For instance, you start your class, you show them the image, and they're meant to ask questions based on the image. Or you're going to ask them what do they think, or you can even ask them, okay, I'm not going to tell you the topic of today, but based on this image, what do you think is happening? What you're going to talk about today? What are the words that you can associate in French, your target language, related to this image? What do you think? What are the words you're going to be looking out for? What vocabulary do you want to learn from this subject? So this is stimulating your trying to get them engaged before you get into the topic itself. Okay, number 9, you can at this point, you just have the image and you have the questions. So this helps you when you're plenary. This works perfectly. May not even be a starter, but the plenary where you have the question format by the side and you have the image by the side too. Let's move on to the final one, 10. This is where you have only the questions. So you've done your tasks, you've gone through everything with your class, and you want to ask questions. You don't want them to see the text anymore. You just want them to see the questions. This is where you come to number 10, and you are giving them the different type of questions. So we have the chunks. This is where we are. They're meant to translate it here. You have find the phrase. You have multiple choice questions, and this is 1 to 5. You can add more. We have open questions. You have questions, normal questions that are going to help critical thinking. For instance, quel est le nom de la personne qui a une table réservée au restaurant? Pour que la personne 1 s'excuse-t-elle auprès de la personne 2? So these are questions that you need to ask, and you can also add your questions. You saw that in the video, the previous video. We also have the true or false questions. We have the vocabulary in text questions. Here you can see that you are not just learning vocabulary, but you're learning the vocabulary in text context. And this is very important because we need to know that learning the vocabulary is not just the only thing that we should do. We should actually learn how to use the vocabulary in context. How do you form sentences? So this can be an inspiration, this can be a guide for your students because, for instance, you say, Je voudrais juste de l'eau. Ask them to also form their own sentences based on what they have learned. Okay, then we have vocabulary lists. We also have where you can actually create a worksheet. So you can create a worksheet here, and let's see. So can impute all those things, then generate your worksheet, and that is what we have at this point. This is the sample worksheet that you can use in your class. So you can even get to print this for a lot of students that love having it hard copy. You can get to print this and work with your students based on it. So what do you think about this tool? Is this something that you'd want to try as a teacher? Is this something that you that works for you? I love this tool. Lingo Teach AI is very intentional for language learning teachers and language teachers, and it's very important that every language teacher gets to know how to use this effectively. So we'll be able to look at the screen layouts today, and you can see that just the screen layouts is how many minutes. So we're going to be looking at the other features in our next video. Thank you. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share with all language teachers so that they are not missing out on the recent developments, recent big thing happening in the AI world. Thank you.